All right, how's it going, y'all? I don't really have a goal for this stream. Honestly, like every stream I ever do, people just come on and ask a bunch of questions. Hey, babe, what's up? Yeah, I figured I'd do a short little live stream this morning and then go downstairs and probably clean up Cooper's pee, which I'm assuming he's gonna pee because he always does. How's your workout going? All right, so I don't know if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. I'm just kind of like messing around with a React app that was created using Vite. If you haven't used Vite before, it's pretty cool. A lot faster than Create React App, and I would recommend it if you wanted to do a single page application. Mohammed has a question about regarding implementing with PayPal. Yeah, I'm not sure if I can help you with that one. I mean, like, what exactly is your question? I'm sure PayPal has docs, but I think the last time I tried using PayPal, it was not that easy to understand. Oh, welcome home, babe. I can hear the garage door going. Like, I think I've used Stripe, just playing around with Stripe. Stripe seems like it's a lot easier to understand and like integrate with versus PayPal, but maybe they've changed over the years. But they probably also have a PayPal React plugin that you could probably just like bring into your application and actually integrate it with PayPal. Like this React PayPal button 2. Sorry, I have to keep clearing my throat in the morning. Yeah, I'm not sure how to help you too much. I mean, like, you can try to join my Discord and ask questions about it, but on a live stream, that's going to be too hard to help you debug, especially since I don't know what the errors are. But yeah, one thing I kind of wanted to build out is over here, since I'm a nerd, I have like a, a little like caffeine half-life tracker. So when you drink coffee, like the caffeine in your system will start being processed. And this is the formula for the half-life. So I wanted to like build like a little UI that does this instead of a spreadsheet. Really, there's no point to this, but I think it'd be fun to work on some. So let's see what we can do. Basically, I'm just going to grab that formula and we can kind of start with that. So somehow using this formula, I don't know if this font's too small for you all, but I have to keep it like this. So I want to like be able to show a table or a list of after every hour in the time what like the content will be of the half-life. You could do whatever you want with this. Like if this is like some type of radioactive isotope, like you could also figure out the half-life of that. But let me just go ahead and delete some stuff. So to get this going, we probably need like an input box. And we want to basically keep track of like the initial, oops, the initial content. So let's just go ahead and put like an on change here. And I'm going to go ahead and say set initial amount. Initial amount. Let's set that equal to 0. What's this complaining about? Missing a closing tag on the div. I left my glasses in the room, so I'm probably going to have a bunch of random syntax errors because I can't see what I'm doing. All right, there we go. What is this complaining about? Oh, I'm using TypeScript. Okay, yeah, so this is another thing I want to try to do is just build a little simple project in TypeScript. Probably a giant mistake because I'm going to be spending like a bunch of time fixing up TypeScript errors, but so let's just figure this out. Argument of type string is not assignable to parameter of type set state action number. So obviously this is a number, so you have to like parse it as an int. Let's see if that works. There we go. This is a little shorthand way to like convert a string to a number. Some say it's hacky. You could also do parse int here. Pass that a string. And now we have the initial amount. So let's go back to the UI. We got an input box. So let's type in some stuff. I think the issue with this is that you can type in like letters here, which is not good. So I want to be able to kind of force this to be, I think you can say type number, and that'll force it to only be numbers when you type into it. It also gives like this auto incrementing thing. This is just built into HTML. This isn't a React thing. This is just HTML. But yeah, I think what would also be cool is if we bring in a third-party component library. I like using Bootstrap, but I might start looking into Tailwind CSS. It seems like everyone's using it. I understand why it's pretty useful, but I don't want to kind of set that up in a live stream right now. I think you can just npm install Bootstrap, to be honest, or yarn add Bootstrap. And by the way, if my mic like cuts out, leave me a comment and let me know. I think it's just yarn add Bootstrap, and that should install Bootstrap 5. I'm not using the React Bootstrap equivalent just because I don't want to do like components. I just want classes that I can kind of use. But I think to get this going, you have to go to your like index file. I think typically it's in here. So like import / bootstrap. I think it's like dist css bootstrap or something. I'm just going off of memory. I need to go to the docs and actually verify. But if I did this correctly, it should work. But it looks like it crashed. So let's go back to the docs real quick. Yeah, let me do this. I'm just going to look at the bootstrap directory. Let's look at dist css boot. Oh, I called bootstrap wrong. Bootstrap. What's up, Akash? Welcome, welcome. Does the file exist? Dist css bootstrap min css. Bootstrap min css. Okay, something happened. Yeah, so let's just go back. Am I on Bootstrap 5? I am Bootstrap 5. All right, so let's go to components. I just want to like go to a form actually and just get an overview of how to add like a form with some layout. So it looks like I could just do, let's follow this example with email. So grab these two. And let's just go back to app.tsx. Add that in. And I'm going to get rid of all these like extra stuff because I don't really care about accessibility right now. I just care about the classes. So input, I just need like form control and form label. Add that class name, and this could be initial amount. Yeah, the theme I use is Shades of Purple. Everyone always asks what theme I use. Really nice theme. All right, what's this complaining about? So I have a label. Oh, I just completely messed up the CSS here, or the HTML. Form label. Delete that. And this is form control. Let's do that. All right, let's look at this. I can't tell if Bootstrap's working, to be honest with you all. Like, I thought this would have put it to the left. Maybe it's because I didn't use the 4 and the 2 or something. Oh, I think it maybe needs to be in a form. Okay, is that happening to anyone else? Like, I need to turn that off. When I do something like this, it puts 2 ending brackets, which is kind of really annoying. Let me just disable that. I think it's called like close HTML. Wait, I saw tag. Let me search for tag. Auto close tags. Like, I know they're trying to help me out by like closing my stuff, but I don't know why it's doing stuff like that. Okay, it's still auto closing, so I don't know what's going on. But yeah, let's see if we put this in a form, if it styles it. You might ask what I'm trying to do right now. I'm just trying to figure out why this thing doesn't look like this. And I wonder if you need to put like the IDs and stuff. But let's try a different component just to see if Bootstrap works. I know there's like alerts, which I could just put an alert on the page, and if it turns blue, then like I think we're good. Okay, yeah. All right, so Bootstrap is working, but who cares about styling? Let's be honest. So what I want to do is answer some YouTube comments. So we have you seen, Cameron said, have you seen the content visibility CSS feature to improve rendering times? I don't know. Let me Google that. I don't remember off the top of my head if I've seen that before. Along with forcing a strong set of containments, allowing user agents to potentially omit large swaths of layout rendering work until it becomes needed. It basically enables the user agent to skip the elements rendering work. Visible has no effect. Hidden, the element skips its contents. Auto, the element turns on layout containment, style containment, and ping containment. If the element is not relevant to the user, it also skips its content. I'm not sure what that means. If the element is not relevant, does that mean if the element is not in the viewport? Like, they should probably do some better terminology here. Not relevant doesn't really make sense. Skip painting and rendering of off-screen sections. This will help both with load times. I kind of wonder why they don't do this automatically. I guess like you want to be able to do a Command F and like search the entire page for content. And if this stuff is not visible, then I guess it wouldn't show. But yeah, I haven't seen this before, honestly. It seems like a lot of people talk about load times of websites and performance and stuff, but unless you're working on like a landing page, like a really important marketing landing page, performance and load times is not that important in my opinion. Usually you're building like an application. If it's like a single page application, like it doesn't really matter if it loads within 600 milliseconds or a second. The user just wants to be able to get in and like do some stuff. So they're not going to get all mad if they can't load fast. But yeah, I'll have to check that CSS property out more. There's a lot of stuff I don't even know about CSS and programming in general. So I'm sure you could find other things, other properties in CSS that I have no idea what they do because I haven't had a real need to use them in my work application. But it doesn't mean that they're not that important for your application or for your business. All right, so I've written one HTML element. We've made some progress. Oh, okay. I'll definitely check that out then and go back to my little prototype because that might actually fix my issue if that's the case. So if you know a lot about it, does it basically not render the element if it's not in the viewport, but you still have the ability to do Command F to search through the content? Because that'd be kind of useful to get my tables loading faster, but the fact that I haven't come across it makes me think that I can't use it for my needs. Because I searched for a while for like how to speed up table loads and I never came across that property. So I'm not entirely sure if I can use it. But all right, let me just try to implement some more stuff. So now when we type into this, we're setting the initial amount. And to verify this is working, let's just render it out somewhere. Okay, so that's working. And then what we want to do is we want to display, I'm not even going to put a form here. I'm just going to display some, I guess I could do a table here. And I could do a T head. Down here I could do a T body. And then I'm going to do a T, I guess it's a TR and a TH or something. So let me say like hours passed. And then I'll say amount. All right, so what we're trying to do here is use that formula that we kind of figured out, and we want to figure out the content of whatever using this half-life formula. So the half-life formula, I believe, is this would have to be like I took this from a spreadsheet, so instead of A2, this needs to be like an index. So I'm going to make a function called get value by hours or something. And then I will say hours passed. And then I could just return that formula, I believe. So let's just go ahead and do, well, I guess I need the initial amount too, right? Well, the initial amount will be here. So I can do the initial amount times 0.5. And I believe you can do double star for POW. So I can do hours passed divided by 5. And this needs to be defaulted to a 0. Okay, so now what I can do is hopefully just render out a table of like 12 hours. Oh, I guess this is saying 24. Let's just do that. Let's do a map over an array of 24 elements. And we are going to basically get the index of everyone. And let's just go ahead and return a new table row for every single one. And then a TD will be I. But then we want to call that formula that we kind of talked about. So just go ahead and call that formula called get value by hours. I'm going to pass in the hours passed, which would just be I in this case. And let's figure out what TypeScript errors we are looking into. So maybe you have to put value here. All right, what's going on here? New array. Maybe I need to do a dot fill and like fill it with empty stuff. Cannot find val. Did you mean eval? I must have a syntax error somewhere. Yeah, I have an extra parenthesis here. All right. So the initial amount, if I type 324, we have a breakdown of the half-life of whatever this value is. So like you'll see that it reduces after 5 hours elapsed, it goes down to half. Okay, so that's the kind of the formula. And then how long is this stream been going for? I think what I also wanted to do is like figure out a way to add the ability to like add in additional things. So like after 5 or 6 hours, if you were to drink like 6 ounces of coffee or something, have like a button here you can add, and that'll kind of reset the actual thing. I think it'd also be cool to set like the actual time. So like the initial time. So let's try to figure that out. I'm not good with dates. I really need to spend time learning more about dates and time zones and all that stuff. I kind of just been putting it off for the past 10 years of my programming career, but we want to kind of have an initial date. Well, in fact, I could probably just like use this, use the current date. Let me think. Yeah, I'll just add another input called like initial date. What I'm also going to do is let's add a row, and I'm going to add a column, and then I'm going to add another column here. So let's just go ahead and put the initial amount in one column, the initial date in a different column, and then I'm going to go ahead and just set an initial date. And I think I can change this to a date type. I don't know what this would need to be. If this is a date, I guess it's just like a date object in JavaScript. I guess you have to do this. But well, let me take a step back. I think what happens in HTML is like this thing is just going to give you a string. So let's just go ahead and make this a string, and I'm going to console log what e.target.value is, because when you have this input as type date, I believe this thing will give you back a string date, maybe. All right, so we got initial amount, initial date. We should probably wrap this in a container. So instead of putting app here, I'm going to put container, and that should add some padding to it. And then for this row, I'm going to add some margin bottom to it, just to make it look a little bit better. Probably some margin top too, some margin top of 2. What's up, Tejas? Is there an extension? So Archroff says, is there an extension that tells you the errors you have? Right now I'm using TypeScript, so it does help you a little bit with pointing out whatever errors that you might have. So I think that's what you're seeing when stuff gets highlighted. Sanjay, I don't know if I pronounced your name right, but thank you. Thank you for watching the stream and watch my content. I appreciate that. Hope you have learned something along the way of my random videos I keep posting. Well, I'm glad my coding stuff helps you wake up in the morning. That's the first time I've ever heard that. What am I doing? So like if you were to click, oh yeah, so I wanted to see like if I were to click on a date, what actually prints out to the console, right? I want to know what this is. And I have an assumption that this is going to be a string. This doesn't actually help us because I want date time. I don't think there is a date time in HTML. Is there? HTML input date time. Datetime hyphen local. I guess there is. Let's see. You learn something new every day. Datetime local. I'm sure Bootstrap also has like a date picker component, but let's see if Bootstrap has a date picker. Oh, my brightness was turned like halfway down. No wonder it was so hard to see my computer. Yeah, I don't know if they have a date picker. Anyway, let's see what this looks like. So now we have this super intense date picker. So I could do what happened if I pick 8 a.m. Actually, I woke up at like 7:05 this morning. So let's go ahead and do that. And what do we get when you pick that? You get a string, which I believe is an ISO format. So this is what we get back. What I want to kind of do is add another column called like datetime. So let's go back here. I'm going to go ahead and add in th date time. And let's make another TD here in the table. Save it. Make sure it works. This is like one of the best advices I can give you if you're a beginner is every time you make a change, even if it's a one word or one line change, save your file, go back to your UI and check that it works. And then also like do stuff like this where you just kind of put random things in. Like you don't have to actually put a real value here to verify stuff is working. Just like put whatever you want just to make sure that you're on the right path. Because when I started off, like you'll start adding more and more and more stuff. And like after 50 changes, you'll go back to the UI and everything's broken. So the shorter that feedback loop is of you added a change, you check to make sure it works, the easier it is to debug. The more you change, you can turn into like an hour or two debugging session because you're trying to figure out all this different stuff you changed versus you make a line change, verify it in the UI. And if you're using like Vite or anything, like your UI should refresh in like half a second if you have a decently fast computer. So it's like not a big deal to just go over, make sure this is still working. Wow. Thank you very much. Let's see. How can I become like you? I mean, you just have to practice. I've been doing this for a long time. And then you have to be intentional about like what you're doing. Like always try to take a step back and reevaluate what you've learned, reevaluate how you're trying to learn, and make sure that you're just always progressing, whatever it is. Even if every day you learn one little thing, like today I learned that there's a date time hyphen local format. I didn't know this about HTML. Should I have known this already? Probably. But again, I haven't come across it in my current work application because most of the time we're using a third-party date picking component in React. So I'm not aware of some of the stuff that's like already baked into the HTML elements that we can kind of just use. But every day, I mean, if you just make a list and just write down one thing you learned that day, like you're guaranteed to pretty quickly become good. Let me block this person. Google Ads, I'm getting bots for these people too, huh? You think Google or YouTube would be able to notice when a bot is commenting on stuff? Like that seems like it's pretty easy to do, right? Because this person, every time I do a live stream, I get comments from this person who does like these type of emojis and has this name. And you think YouTube would be smart enough to like block this stuff automatically for us, but they're too busy counting their money that they're getting from ad revenue, so they probably don't have time to actually help out streamers. Is Google Ads like a real person? Oh, any tips if you're new to... Okay, maybe I shouldn't have blocked Google Ads. I don't know why your name is Google Ads. But any tips if you're new to React and Node? I don't know. Just keep practicing, keep learning, keep building stuff with it. Like, it, not to be rude, but like that's such a generic question. Like, there's 1,000 things. I have 100, 300 something videos on like React or just whatever. So watch some of those. But my best tip is just like keep practicing and keep learning. All right, so what I wanted to do instead of hi here, I wanted to actually print out the initial date added with the hours. So this is actually hours. So again, another tip is, here's a tip for you. Don't name stuff I, right? Name it the actual thing that it is. Unless it really is an index, but in this case, I'm treating this as hours past. So don't call it I, and then delete. Can I delete that? I guess I can. All right, so I want to be able to basically add to a date. So let's make another function up here called add hours to initial date, hours past, excuse me. And I'm going to return the initial date and let GitHub Copilot do everything for me. Another tip is install GitHub Copilot. It might seem counterintuitive to have this AI typing everything for you, but I could literally load up a Go file right now. I've never coded in Go, and I can, like, let me just show you what happens. I don't know if this will work. Test.go. So let's say I wanted to learn Go. This is honestly like the best way if you have Copilot installed. I'm gonna say like declare a variable equal to 10 or 20. Okay. I just learned how to declare a variable. I didn't have to go to Google. I didn't have to go to the Go docs. I didn't have to go to Stack Overflow. Assuming that Copilot actually knows what it's doing, like it just showed me how to do this. And I could say, make an if statement to print hello if 20, if the variable 20 is over 20. There we go. I just learned how to write an if statement. Looks like they don't use parentheses. Looks like this is how you can print something to the console. Right, this is like, if I was going to have to learn a new language, this is honestly what I would do. I would load up a file with the right extension, start typing comments, see what Copilot tells me. There's a high chance that the stuff is wrong that gets put in, but from what I've seen with Copilot, like it's pretty accurate. Write goodbye to a file named goodbye.txt. How do you write to a file? Well, Copilot is going to tell me. There we go. What is this actually doing? I don't really know, but it looks like it's creating a file or a pointer to a file called goodbye.txt. If the file doesn't exist or if there's an error, we are going to throw that error, and then we write the string goodbye, and then we close the file stream. That's what I would recommend doing. Install Copilot and let it just show you how to learn. All right, let's see if I can get this thing done before I end the stream. So initial date is a string. So we might have to cast it. Actually, I'm going to change this. Instead of this being a string, I'm going to change this to a date. I think you can do this. Sorry, wrong place. What I wanted to do is up here, set initial date, new date. I think if you just pass the ISO format to date, it'll just like automatically cast it maybe. But it's failing because I think this needs to be set up with a new date object. Okay, so TypeScript, when you're using like React State, you can add a generic type to this function, which basically says state always has to be date. You can't try to add something that's not a date object to this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take initial date, and then I'm going to set the hours and just add an hour to it, or whatever hours past is, which I guess we want this to be a number. that how you do it? Anyway, so down here, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to add the hours to the initial date. Hours past. I'm going to rename that for hours past. What other typos do I maybe have hours past? So here we don't actually have to put like a colon number because like this is an implicit type in TypeScript where like since we set it equal to a 0, TypeScript assumes that this thing is always going to be a number. Notice that if I hover over it, it says colon number after it. If you don't have a default, then it's going to require potentially a argument depending on how your TS-lint is set up. I could have defaulted this to 0 as well. I could probably do that too. Anyway, let's go back. Yeah, I think I've seen you comment Google Ads on my other videos. I keep thinking you're a bot because it's like, I don't know. It just seems like you'd be a bot, but thought I did block them. How do I block these people? Report hide user on this channel. All right, they should be blocked. All right, so what I'm trying to do is I need to convert this to a prettier format, right? So again, I could go to Stack Overflow and remember how to do that, or I could just format it. I believe there's a pretty easy way to do it. Actually, there might not be an easy way to do this, but let me just go ahead and just make a function called like const format date time to string. Let's see what this tells me what to do. Yikes. So at this point, like it's probably better to bring in like a date library like moment, or I think there's like another one. I think one's called like now or something. But I'm just going to use Copilot for right now to tell me how to like format this thing, because what we have here I think is a UTC string, like a timestamp, which we don't want because that's not really even readable. So I'm going to go ahead and just pass that thing to that formatter function and watch it crash. Date time get date is not a function. Argument of type number is not assignable to parameter type date. Oh, maybe it's this one. Date time. Set hours. So this is going to return. I think I have to do this. I don't know. Like I said, like date times and date strings are just not my forte. I just never taken the time to really learn them. I can get something working, obviously, as you can tell, but let me go to the table. I think I need to add a class name of table to this to make it look nice. Cool. That's the power of Bootstrap right there. So now I guess what I'm trying to show you is if I were to type in an initial amount, which I think I should default this, it'd be nice if this was actually defaulted to something. So I'm gonna say like 324, which seems kind of arbitrary, but that's like the amount of 12 ounces of some Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that on the input here. So this needs to be bound to that value, which I think is called initial amount. And now this should start off with 324. And the initial date, that should be set to today. Maybe we should actually do that. I think down here, if I were to find the date object, I think I need to convert this. Let's see if I can just do this. This is complaining because it needs to be a string. So I'm going to say to UTC string or ISO string. Whoops. Not sure why it's slicing. Oh, I guess it has to get rid of the milliseconds or something. Let's see what happens here. All right, here we go. So when you first load the app, let me refresh the page and show you. When you first load the app, initial amount set to 324. We got the date time right here. And then it tells you, let me zoom out a little bit because I think I'm zoomed in like a ton. It tells you what the breakdown is of the half-life of whatever this content was. So after What time is it right now? 8:24. So 8:24. If I were to set this back an hour, yikes! This is in like military time. Hold on, I'm a little confused right now. This is setting 12. Why would this say 12? You know, it's probably a time zone thing. Let me see what GitHub Copilot recommends here. Let's do that. Oh, that's what I just had. Dang. Anyway, let me just change this to 8. Yo, this date, initial date is, yo, this guy keeps coming back, huh? Let me report this user. Okay, I ban him and I hit him. He just keeps coming back, so I'm not sure how to actually like get him away, but I'm trying to figure out why when this app first loads, the initial date is set to like something else. Like I should be able to type on this and type 08. Valid time. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why I can't actually. Let me just do this. I may have to use a time picker. I might spend more time looking into this, but like notice I went to 6:14. Like why? Time picker is really messed up. I guess my time zone is just not set correctly. Like June 14th for some reason. Like, do you see that? It's like going back way back in time. Initial date. Get date, get month, get full year. 14. Anyway, it's not a big of a deal. I'm gonna wrap up the stream. That's all I want to kind of work on right now. So thank you all for joining. I know some more people just joined right now, but I'm actually gonna drop. So yeah, leave a comment. Join my Discord. There's a decent amount of people in my Discord where we just ask each other like programming questions and stuff. So if you're not part of my Discord, go find my Discord link. It's probably part of my YouTube description on all my videos. So join my Discord, leave me a comment, give me a like, do whatever you need to do. All right, have a good day and happy coding. And let's see how I can end this stream.